Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. My name is Erica Flynn Walker, and I'm your host with Miss Molly Hancock, candidate for Superior Court Judge number 60. I'm so excited to say this, you guys. I mean, feel the moment right now. We're here today to say good afternoon, and we're going to say that Mr. Hall is not here right now with us. He's in the field. So he's going to be calling us from the field and also joining us. Can you say good afternoon to Miss Holly Hancock, everyone?
Yes, hello, everyone. I am Holly Hancock. I'm running for judicial seat number 60. I'm very excited to be here on the Raymond Hall Show with Ms. Walker.
Yes.
And I have, it's very exciting to be able to run. I'm learning a lot about campaigning, but I'm also just learning a lot about, reaching out to the community, talking about different things that are of concern to our community and that will be of concern to our community if I take the bench.
Okay. We have a change in program and lineup. We'll be speaking with Mr. Anthony Williams also in our second segment from 2:30 to 45, reflecting on the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Mr. Williams worked as a disc jockey for WLOK in Memphis, Tennessee, and has unique perspective. He has a unique perspective on what the heart of the people was at the time when he shared his thoughts about being there 50 years ago. 50 years ago, the anniversary, this person was there. So he's going to call us later. So we have an exciting show for you today. We have Miss Holly Hancock here. We have you here, all of our audience and viewing and listening guests. And we say follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and also iCloud at The Raymond Hall Show. And we look forward to today's conversation, which today is a different conversation at the Raymond Hall Show. So, Ms. Hancock.
Yes.
Ms. Hancock, what I would like to do is, at this time, hold on. Bear with me, you guys. Ms. Hancock is a very distinguished guest and litigator. Again, welcome. Holly Hancock, candidate for judge of Superior Court Seat 60. Ms. Hancock is a deputy public defender of Los Angeles, California, where she has served and worked the community for 12 years. That's so beautiful. She hails from Chicago and graduated with her BA in, is that rhetoric?
Yes, rhetoric. So,
wow, what does that mean?
Arguing, talking, writing.
So you can get a degree in rhetoric?
Yes. At the University of Illinois. And I did it a long time, and then I didn't go to law school. But that sounds like it's the perfect thing for law school.
Oh,
right?
my God. Who knew? Listen to this. You can get a degree in a BA in rhetoric. I'm like, is that the right word? Wait a minute. Okay. So in rhetoric, and also she is from University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana.
Champaign-Urbana.
Sure, Champaign-Urbana.
Yes, in Illinois.
In Illinois. Mm-hmm. She was an active representative in the, and that's when I read this, I was so excited, the Association of Flight Attendants during the national crisis of 9/11. Mm-hmm. She has been a busy young lady and became a spokesperson for the increased safety measures on board. Ms. Hancock, you have been so busy. Yeah. During this time, she advised the flight attendant maternity population. Now, that's another one. There's a population of ladies that are, they have their maternity. They are pregnant.
They are.
And then they go through postpartum depression.
Well, yeah, like everybody else.
Like everybody else. Exactly. They're just flight attendants.
Yeah.
But they go through that.
Right.
So she was a part of, oh my God, you have been just so busy. Okay. During the same time, she advised with the flight attendants and that population and was published as vice president of the local order to pursue her JD from Southwestern University School of Law. So what does that mean, JD?
A Juris Doctor.
Juris
Yeah,
Doctor.
so that's the degree you get when you go to
a Juris Doctor.
Law school.
So you're a doctor. But a Juris Doctor.
Yeah, a JD. Yeah.
A JD.
So we don't say doctor, but it's a doctor of law, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So you learned something. A doctor of law and a BA in rhetoric. Who knew? Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So this, I like to, as she has a remarkable, she has a remarkable slate that she presents us today, and I like to say welcome to her to the Raymond Hall Show. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here, and I appreciate you having me and talking to me a little bit about myself and my background and, how I think maybe I can help the community and continue to help the community because I've always done that.
Right.
And I guess what I was saying is that I was the vice president of the Association of Flight Attendants way back during the 9/11 crisis. And I was also representing the flight attendants in their grievances with the company. So it was a labor management.
So are they union or non-union?
They were union,
okay.
Yes. And they still are.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yes, we love the union people.
Yeah. They still are with the union.
Yes. Okay.
And that at that time the union was just Association of Flight Attendants. I think they have merged with a bigger union.
How many flight attendants approximately?
At that time there were 3,000 in this council.
Wow.
So there were at that time in local council 12 there were 3,000. They have moved things around and since they've merged with Continental, they've changed where they have their bases, etc. So I don't know exactly the number that they have right now, but it was the third largest base.
Wow.
In the system, and the system was worldwide. So yeah, so it was pretty interesting. It was it was actually fascinating. It was wonderful to be able to help. I did go to like the city council, to the airport consultations to just increase the security measures.
Okay.
Of course, my concern was the security measures on board and not just going through security because, as we were informed, and we figured it out since then, the people who really, they had to get some help. And they had to get help, but the help was coming from the ground.
Who were these people? The people that were on the plane?
Yeah, the people on the planes, the assassinators or the terrorists.
The terrorists,
they had to get help. They had to get help, and they had to get it on the plane.
Right.
And by that I mean it had to be on the ground. Ground before they left.
Right.
They had help. So we were concerned about that for the flight attendants.
Okay.
The flight attendants, if you really think about it, were the first people to give their lives in that particular war.
Yes, they were. And they were just at work that day.
Exactly.
And they were just at work that day. And they were flight attendants, and you represented them, and they were union members, and they were working, and they had a purpose, and they were serving people. And that's what we talk about here at the Raymond Hall Show, service to ourselves and to others.
Yeah, so I continued with that. Shortly after that, I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to go to law school. And I kind of mid-career made that change.
Really? Yeah. Mid-career? So you just, it's something you just said, and then once you made up your mind, you did it.
Exactly.
Because you already had the BA in rhetoric.
Yes, I did have my BA in rhetoric.
That
so I could just talk, and argue. But I was doing that anyway.
Right.
And then I said, well, I'm going to take it into a different form.
Right. And then you went to the next stratosphere.
Yes.
And then you got the law, you got the JD, the doctor of jurisdiction. I mean, this is so deep.
And I did that when I had a baby. So
Oh, and you were pregnant too.
Well,
you
got pregnant.
Yeah. So we know what you do when you get pregnant. So everybody was doing it. You did it that time. Okay, we feeling you. And you had the baby inside of you, and you were working still.
Yeah, I was definitely working, and that's why I was. I kind of became. That's why I say also I was a spokesperson for the maternity mothers who were at that time.
Okay.
I knew a lot of the ins and outs, and of how to take leave and et cetera, how to advise them, and also people did suffer from postpartum depression, and You know, it's very difficult. Our job is that job. When I say our, and I still think of myself as a flight attendant.
Right. You were so entrenched in their plight that they were going through. And plus you had children, so you've experienced the whole, having a child and the before, during, and after of that experience.
Exactly. So it just became a situation where ultimately I did go to law school, and I wanted to represent people. I wanted to fight for their rights.
Okay.
And pretty soon after I finished law school and passed the bar, I got the position with the Office of the Public Defender.
Did you pass the bar on the first time?
No.
Oh, well, guess what? But you passed it.
So keep trying.
So keep trying. That's the thing. If you don't do it, don't let that stop you. Because Ms. Hancock.
Lie about that, but
yes,
you know
but that's
what?
good. That's
I've
a
been
blessing.
For 12
yes.
years.
God is good. See, no matter what, you go back and you get it.
Exactly.
And she got her jurisdiction, her JD. And she's here with us today, everyone. And I'm so happy to have her sitting here and spending this time with us. Right now, we're going to take a short break. And when we return, we will have, we will continue with the show. And we'll also have Mr. Raymond Hall here. This is the Raymond Hall Show. My name is Erica Flynn Walker, and we'll be right back. Toodaloo.
That was funny.
Good afternoon, and thank you for returning to the Raymond Hall Show. I am Raymond Hall, and I am so thankful for Mrs. Erica Flynn Walker, and we are super elated for our guest, Holly Hancock. it seems that we have missed something for a long time. I'm not claiming anything, but men been walking around here like they got power, and it's like the women got all the knowledge and the power. We just need to step out, be late, do something,
exactly,
and they'll take care of things. Well, I want to tell you, so thank you very much. We are excited because of a number of things. I have often thought that the best justice of all comes from mothers. They're the first ones that get that belt. Okay.
Before the belt, the first one that carried you inside their womb, and then they delivered you,
right,
and then they cared for you,
right,
and then they, after they did that for a while, then they got the belt.
Right. Well, as a man, I started with the belt.
Oh.
Okay. This is the Raymond Hall. Right? This is the Raymond Hall show, a different conversation. So from here's what I'm saying, and I'm very serious about it. That our community is in dire need of fairness and justice at the bench.
Yes.
What has devastated our communities are the mandatory mandates.
I agree.
Those things that have taken justice out of the hands
of the people,
of the jurists.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay. So to read your background and to read that you are on the defense side, okay, was very encouraging to me. Far too often, we are asked to go and speak for people before the judge.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And far too often, when you're saying things, you really are saying from your heart that it's your child. So if it goes your way, you're happy, and if it doesn't go your way, it's your child.
Right.
So we are encouraged.
Yes, we are. Can
we be the first ones to say Judge Hancock?
Yes. We saying it all right. It's here. It's Judge Hancock. Yes. Yes, it's Judge Hancock.
It's really it's a wonderful opportunity, and today we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King.
Yes.
And I think that it's like I'm so honored to be able to just sit here, to finish law school, to go to law school,
yes,
to practice,
yes,
to stand before other jurists, to argue to juries. It's like sometimes I just walk and I say, wow, I can't even believe that this is what's happening to me.
Right. Right.
Sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I'm even in Los Angeles. I'm from Chicago.
I know.
And
you left
I'm a little girl from Chicago,
from
south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying my parents were teachers, but
right,
I mean, sometimes I'm just like, wow, I can't believe that this is, really the situation here. So I'm very proud to be able to just run,
Right.
And I don't, and I had encouragement from many people, but it really just didn't click with me until recently, where I was really seeing many of the voter-initiated propositions have started to come to fruition, and to me that's saying that people are saying, look, it's enough.
Yes.
Right.
This actually, it wasn't politicians, it was people, it was advocacy groups.
Right.
The community is saying, look, we've gotten too many people incarcerated for too long, and I'm not saying that some people shouldn't be.
That's
right,
correct.
Right.
That's
and I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I am saying,
some life is not even long enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah, life is not long enough for some of the horrific things they do.
It can't be everybody.
Right.
Everybody, because you start affecting too many families.
The numbers are totally off.
And then the families are, it's affecting the community.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited about some of the changes, because they are actually slowly starting to give judges more opportunities to really look at the whole person.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I was encouraged in reading your bio.
Yes.
My sister retired from DePaul University and she was law librarian there, and she just kind of retired there in Chicago.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tricked me the first time. I mean, it wasn't my first time going to Chicago, but it I hadn't been there in a while.
Okay.
So we were staying at the Palmer House.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh, brother, I stay close. I'm in the circle. You can walk by." Well, I'm used to a block being a block. I'm not used to a Chicago block. Okay,
Right, a real city block.
A real city block, okay? That's some
I like
serious
the froze.
No.
Oh my goodness, I
And
like
it's cold
the froze.
outside.
Oh.
It's a long block and it's cold in Chicago. That's why you came to sunny California.
Yeah.
Exactly. I get it now.
I was in Southern California.
Yes.
Yes, but I've always had a heart for Chicago because Chicago is that bristling city. You got to get up, you got to hit it,
do.
And Chicago. I'm even more impressed by your connection to Dr. King, your life connection to Dr. King, because he definitely is a part of my life. I was 15 minutes away from him when he was assassinated. So when you talk about justice and you talk about you seeking to become a judge, we're going to do here at the Raymond House Show, we're not taking a side politically. We were just taking a side on what's right. You know,
I understand.
Yeah, we say service is a different conversation, and our service is to have the kind of conversation that says, here's a person that's very well qualified, or a person that has the compassion, and a person that will serve that area, serve the community well. So we want to see her not only become a judge, but other people look at her and pattern themselves after her.
Yeah, she is a living, live example of you can go and get a BA in rhetoric, okay? And then you can go and get a JD in jurisdiction. There it is. You know how much, when it's in
Yeah.
Yes. We talked about that earlier. Wait a minute.
So I
We did. That was funny.
Now, when I was in school, they called that something else.
As a teenager, that was. I said, I'm going to be a teenager. I think I'm going to major in rhetoric. And it really is within the English department.
Within the
English
English
department.
department. It's a part of the English department.
Yeah.
I need to go back to school.
It is about
I'm
writing.
serious.
It is about writing and expressing yourself through your position.
Okay.
Whatever. And when I say argument, I don't mean mean spirited, like we're having a shouting match.
Right.
I'm talking about these are my positions, X, Y, and Z. And in an essay, I'm going to write that and propound it. Argue.
Propound. What is propound? Give me another word for propound.
Argue.
Okay. Propound. You're gonna pound down on it.
Now we're gonna shake things up a little bit. While we were talking about Dr. King,
yes,
we have on the line Mr. Anthony Williams. So we're gonna have to put our headset on.
Okay, here we go.
But Mr. Williams was. Mr. Williams, are you there?
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
I'm here.
Mr. Williams was, he's a native of Memphis.
Yes.
He was working at WLOK radio station. Now, WLOK was the megawatts station at the time, but it was the megawatt station at the time, but it was the second black radio station in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
So I asked him on, as you were talking about the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, and back then walking distance was a different thing. I was back then walking distance about 15 minutes away from him. But he was in that studio when that happened or somewhere there around. So he heard the hearts of the people when he was assassinated. Mr. Anthony.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for taking the time to give us a reflection. We have with us Miss Holly Hancock, who's running for Superior Court Judge for District Number 60.
Yes.
Okay. And so, and of course, we have the co-host, Mrs. Erica Flynn Walker here. And most importantly, we have our audience, listening and viewing audience.
Good afternoon.
So in recognition and reflection of that 50th anniversary, we wanted you to take a time to share with us what was the mood, what was the heart of the people when Dr. King was assassinated. And what we're going to do is, as you give us just a little bit, we're going to talk about that. And Holly, we're going to bridge right back to where you are.
All right.
In not only your position today as a defense litigator,
All right.
okay, but as one seeking a position on the bench.
All right. And hello, Mr. Williams. How are you?
Hello, is this Holly?
Yes, it is.
Holly, first of all, I'd like to give you vet myself to you. My name is Anthony Williams, and I'm from Memphis as well as Raymond there. And we were there at that particular time. It was very impressive for young men. First of all, congratulations on your campaign to become judge.
Thank you very much.
I wish you, and I don't know you personally, but I do know Chicago.
Right.
But I'll give you a little background about myself. As he indicated that WLOK, he said megawatts, it was a megahertz station. WDIA in 1951, when I was born, and Raymond was born the next year, was the first black radio station.
You told everything.
All of it. Okay, he threw you out there.
I got to be real about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, our only communication and terms of the medium there in Memphis was the radio station. WDIA was founded in 51, and it was AM, meaning ampere modulation. They were going south in that direction and far north of maybe somewhere, Cairo, Illinois, someplace. So we couldn't go any place in the southern direction. With that said, I aspired to go into radio because I would always admire the personalities. This is where we get our news from, Raymond.
Yes, right, go ahead.
This is where we were educated via the media as well as our segregated South. Back to fast forward, in 1968, me being a graduate of Douglas High School, Memphis, Tennessee, in 1969, I was president of my class, and I was a Cub reporter for Douglas, and then I was inspired to go and get my third-class broadcast endorsement license by one of the guys that was mentoring me. So basically what I did was like an internship with WDIA, and when I found out I could go and studying and set off to get my FCC license, it was amazing. I passed the test. And they gave me, and fast forward, went on to college at Lincoln University in Oklahoma, HBCU, and finished there. And worked part-time and back and forth with WLOK, the megahertz station, which only covered the immediate area like Arkansas and the small towns. So much for that. Now let's fast forward to April 4th, 1968. April 4th, 1968, Memphis and the tone of segregated Memphis at that particular time. Just to give you an example of how much we were segregated, I myself had never gone to school with a white child, a child of another race.
Well, there was two of us. I never. There were no white teachers. So there were no white principals.
It was segregated.
It was totally segregated.
Right,
yes.
Right.
And so if you go back to Selma and you go back to the March of Montgomery and go back to the civil rights and even the riots here in 1965. I think it was 65. They were prepped for us to protest. We don't have enough time to talk about how this evolved. But now, on that day, what people fail to realize and talk about is the mayor of Memphis at that time was the mayor Henry Loeb.
Right.
And Loeb, at that particular time, they would take the opinion leaders out of the black communities to get their votes. That would be the preachers, the teachers, and people of that status. Now, let's talk about the unemployment level at that particular time. If you think about the South is, after 100 years of slavery, Memphis being there on the river, as you can relate to, Raymond. If you go into the history going forward, 1865 to 1968, we were still pretty much unjustly and not free after the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right.
We were socioeconomically deprived. We were treated, unequal. So now let's fast forward to when what sparked that, and we know that history. I can be brief with that, with the garbage men, with Mr. Cole and Mr. Walker, who died prior to what sparked. I'll use another term, but what got prompted Dr. Martin Luther King to come to Memphis,
right?
Although he had something else to do.
Right.
I am a man, signs and all that. You can go into the particulars, Holly, as to why they were protesting. They were only paid $1.25. Okay. Prior to that day that he got killed, there was a march he tried to put together, maybe 2 weeks. Am I right, Raymond?
It was earlier, and we had this incredible. It was like a miracle. We had 14 inches of snow in April, late March or something. I never will forget it. It was like unbelievable.
And the fact that it ended up in chaos, pandemonium, a riot broke out. It was rumored at that particular time that there were paid agitators of young black teenagers to come in and cause disruption and create chaos and havoc and that with that riot.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Anthony, look, we in this section, I have to kind of move the conversation a little bit because of the time that we have here. If we could, let's go up to that day and what you experienced with the people, with hearing from the people there in Memphis. When it happened, where were you? What?
When the assassination happened. When the assassination happened, where were you? Were you
on
the air? Hi,
no,
this is Erica. How are you doing?
Hi, Erica. How are you?
I'm very well.
To tell you all the truth, I was always the leader. I was at my home. I had been on the air, not on the air, but I was out as a cub reporter with a camcorder on my shoulder prior to that. And because I asked Dr. King, and they were standing around as a little kid, how do you feel? And I told y'all, he gave me these big words that I didn't know. Anyway, on that day, I was a junior class president at home, taking a nap because I wanted to come back to the radio station, WLOK there. And when I woke up, I'm late. The first thing I saw was Walter Cronkite on TV in black and white saying that Martin Luther King had just been killed. Now, the atmosphere, so, obviously, you go into a melancholy state and then a state of depression because everybody knows the history up to that point.
Right.
The mood in Memphis that was then was one of just outrage. It was rage. I don't know if you can recall, Raymond.
I remember very well, but I seem to remember that there were people calling in to radio stations. They wanted people to, rather than react, they wanted people to talk about how they were feeling, and because it looks like to me everybody in our house was glued to the radio. Didn't nobody have a
They didn't have a television
back then.
Radio.
It was
That's
like one.
Radio was it.
Yeah, so everybody was WLOK and WDIA is what everybody gathered to listen to. So
okay, well, I did the same thing. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry because you said your time constraints here. Obviously, we went to that's the medium as which we got our information. In terms of the call-ins, I think they were limited unless they were community leaders. I think WDIA did that with some of your councilmen, theologians. I think Dr. Lawson was there in Memphis at that particular time. He was preaching over, I can't remember the church, so you will remember that. People that called in were outraged. I mean, you got mixed feelings that this is the greatest leader of my lifetime that we had as a people, and shortly after that, riots broke out.
Right.
So that's the answer to that.
Okay.
So you can imagine, it's historically documented.
Right. Well, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of that time, and we all just want to take some time to reflect and be grateful for the time that we did have Dr. Martin Luther King with us, the inspiration he left us with, the forethought that he saw, that he said, that he exposed to us. We're just grateful that we even had that time. And we just look forward to doing our part, each and every one of us, Miss Hancock being in the direct position to be able to make changes in part of what Dr. Martin Luther King was doing, right?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Anthony, we want to thank you. We want to thank you. What I've got to do is, if you don't mind, we're going to. I'm going to kind of put him on the air, put him on the spot. We're going to invite you to come in the studio and be a guest in the studio, and we're going to have a feature section with you. Continue to listen to us. We're going to turn back to Miss Holly because she's the featured guest, and we're going to bridge what you just said. It's not. They're not separate.
It's the same thing, right?
It's the same thing because Holly was talking to us about how Dr. King inspired her, and she can look. It's wonderful to hear her say she walked in the courtroom and
looks around, just looks around like I'm here. She right. So and then she was inspired from Dr. Martin Luther King, and that's the part that how I feel like I'm just so grateful for the time that he was here. Yeah. I'm grateful for that.
I'm going to tell you, I walked into a courtroom and looked and, I'm here. Oh, my God.
What's going on? Let me get out of here.
Where my lawyer at?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a different conversation, though.
That. Right, we've all had those moments.
Yes, okay. Yes, Anthony, go ahead.
Well, with that said, you can call on me anytime, and Dr. Holly. Judge Holly Hancock.
Oh, that was wonderful.
I'll make sure that I campaign on your behalf with all of my personal friends, and we can further this later. And it's been great. It's been great since this short period of time. But in terms of the Raymond Hall show, we're going to get it as it'll go viral. And y'all have a nice day.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Have a great day.
Right. I love you. Bye-bye. Okay.
Right now, we're going to have a quick commercial, which will be speaking and presenting a monthly general meeting Monday, April 16th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. Crenshaw United Methodist Church, 3740 Don Felipe Drive, Los Angeles, California, 9008. Know your benefits. Know your veterans' rights. This is all about the American Legion Post number 109. They will be having benefits, full meal served, free raffle giveaways, Vietnam Veterans Recognition and Achievement Awards, nominations and elections of new post officers. They also will have a 50-50 raffle. Again, this is Monday, April 16th, 2018, and camaraderie at its best. Please wear your military insignia, hat, cap, jacket, support your unit.
All right.
Thanks
the reason we support the veterans initiatives the way we do, I'm a veteran myself of Vietnam, and service is one of the reasons why Dr. King made a difference.
Yes, he was giving service to the people.
Yeah, he
was volunteering pretty much.
Well,
and really putting his life on the line.
And putting his life on the line because
service is something that it's the number one thing that's most often, in my opinion, most often used to build this nation.
Yes, it is.
Now, we as African Americans, we have paid a unique price in the help building, and someone asked me, they said, well, I don't understand that show. You're talking about service. So I want you to look at this. Remember when we had the hurricanes down in Houston and people in California put their lives on hold and went to Houston? Right. Well, we had friends that did that.
Right.
And when they got down to Houston, they found it wasn't like what the Red Cross said. They were doing things that they never thought that they would have to do again. Doctors having to wash bedpans and things like that. That's service. Remember when the Ebola thing broke out in Ghana and Africa and everything? Right. People put their lives on hold here in America and went to another country and became
volunteers. They volunteered. They gave service.
Okay,
or Haiti.
Or Haiti.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you said we read all of the emails and everything, we want to let you know if you don't understand service, that's what we're here to talk about, because the strength of the nation is found in the service of her communities. And that community includes your community. So we're not asking you to do something that you don't have the heart to do. Here, Holly Hancock is. She's taking her time and talent and saying that I want to be of service as a jurist.
Right.
That means that when you come before her, you want to have whatever you have going on to come before someone that has the heart and the talent and the expertise and the education. Her bio reads that she starts in the middle and looks out both ways, as opposed to someone sitting over in a corner, and the minute that you get there, depending on what you look like, you just couldn't be a black or white thing. Maybe they just don't like short people. So you got a problem. Maybe they don't like bald people. So I got a problem.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So service is very important, okay? Have some service in your life. So we're going to go back, and we're back here with Holly. And now we're back talking about your contributions, the things that you're with the Geo Foundation. Did you all talk about that? I thought
No. We didn't talk about that, but we did go over. The last thing we were talking about was Holly's commitment to the stewardesses, and she did, and
the stewardesses at the church.
No, not the flight attendants.
No, flight attendants.
Oh, the
so we went way back.
Okay,
right.
You know?
Okay. We went way back because it was coming.
You too young to be a
stewardess. Right, you gave birth.
I decided to go to law school.
Right. She decided to go to law school when she was pregnant.
Is that
right? Yes.
I had my daughter. She was maybe 1 when I went back to school.
Yeah. Right. So she did it all, and that's the thing. I'm every woman. Exactly.
Yeah, I was crazy.
She was crazy. Oh, see, there you go. Admit it. See,
I wouldn't recommend it, but but people did say, they say this, and it is true. As your child gets older, even though it might seem you're really busy when they're babies, but when they get into school, when they get into that's more time consuming. So you should try to be done with your own schooling if you can,
when they get
when they're little. But yeah, that was where I was with that. And so that we took it from there. You touched on something that I did want to talk about, though, which you were saying that my perspective is one that, and I try to emphasize this because many people look at a defense attorney, and that's what public defenders are, and they'll say, oh, well, she just wants to throw open the jail doors and let everybody out, which is not true.
That's true.
And what it does do, though, is that, in protecting the rights of my client, I am looking at both sides.
You're looking at both sides.
And I keep saying that because there is so much of the bench does come from the prosecution side. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. They too have to come to the middle.
Right.
So we both have to come to the middle. But my perspective is that I've always been looking at both sides.
Right.
And I have to do that in order to present a good defense for my client, just to present a constitutional defense for my client. I have to look at what the police and the prosecutor have presented, and I have to look at what my client is saying, and are there other people that need to be interviewed? Is there further we can go with the investigation? Have the police gone all the way, or do they just kind of stop and say, okay, this is it? Did the prosecutors just file their charges based on usually exactly what they get from the police? They are not doing additional investigation. They are not doing additional. So every case that comes before you is not, it ended in hot pursuit, meaning, the police saw the person do that, take that. Most cases are not that. Most cases are they find somebody after the fact, and so that meant that there had to be some kind of investigation. But I'm always looking at it from both sides.
Right. I had a dear friend that passed, Iris Johnson Bright, and she and I was in the council together, and she said something that stayed with me. And at first I used to laugh. For years I laughed at it, but it was really, really serious, especially after she passed. When I met her, I told her about this issue, and it had to do with veterans. And she said, well, that's a warm body issue.
And what does that mean?
Come over to the house.
Right.
I'm going, ooh, warm body. Okay, let me go on over here and see what she's talking about. What she was talking about is that the community makes this warm body. You come over, you talk to the community, gets together and makes this warm body, makes this issue interest. And in hearing you speak about how things are not cut and dry and things like that, in dealing with the VA, that's oftentimes how it is. And we need people on the bench. This is serious, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
We need
imperative.
People on the bench when things happen. See, you and I, we don't know. I'm just a Southerner that if you tell me something, depending on who you are, I'm not going to believe you. I'm just telling you the truth. If you can be a certain person, I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to act like I didn't even get through kindergarten, and then I'm going to go and check it out. And this officer stopped me, and they wanted to give me a misdemeanor.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, they wanted to give me a ticket. They wanted to give me a ticket, and the ticket was a misdemeanor.
Oh, okay.
And the conditions of the misdemeanor was that I had to go and get my DNA.
Yeah, and you said you didn't agree.
I told him I ain't doing nothing.
Oh, you had to go give DNA?
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I told him I wasn't doing nothing. Okay.
You
I was guilty. Don't get me wrong.
Wait a minute, Mr. Hall.
Yeah, I had to transplant. I'd had to transplant, and my medicine hadn't settled, so I was having little seizures. So I was still driving. So they pulled me over, and my license had been revoked.
No.
And so he said, "Well, we'll give you a misdemeanor. You know, you are this person, so we'll give you a misdemeanor.
Okay.
But we want you to give a DNA." Well, I ain't giving nothing.
Why? You already told the people was the reason that you...
No, that wasn't the thing. The thing was they wanted to build up these databases.
Well.
And I said no. And when they offered me an attorney.
Okay.
I told them I didn't want no attorney. I can pay for my own attorney. I ain't paying for nothing. I represent myself.
Oh, my goodness.
The people in
that's called pro per. Yeah, Mr. Per. Is that called pro per?
Yes.
Okay, so you were going pro per.
Yeah, they let me go.
So it worked out for you.
Of course they let me go because I told them, you either going to send me to Leavenworth, I ain't giving you nothing.
Wait a minute, Mr. Hall. I want to ask Miss Hancock.
Yeah.
Miss Holly.
So you got some street justice.
Yeah, right.
Here's what I'm saying.
Yeah, tell us.
A lot of the young people don't know. See, they're not. They don't know their rights. They're not this old Marine like Raymond Hall.
Right, because you got a military background.
Put something in front of me, they just gonna roll.
We have a call.
It. And I'm not going. I wasn't.
Hello.
Going for
sounds like we have a caller on the line.
We do.
Put your headphones on, please, Miss Hancock.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, it's the Raymond Hall Show.
Yes. Hi. How are you? This is Erica Flynn Walker. Who are we speaking with?
Hi, Erica. This is Milan from Half. I was
Hey, Milan.
Oh, hi, Milan. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well.
Okay. Well, she's here to give us that minute Veterans Corner. So give us that minute Veterans Corner.
Okay, Milan. You have
already studied. So I am Milan Murphy with Healthy African American Families. We're a 501c3 nonprofit in Leimert Park, and we have a veterans project going on right now. So what we need is just veterans from the community that have issues, that want to voice their issues. We're working in conjunction with the VA to make some change and to get some action going. As our CEO, Dr. Loretta Jones, say, we're working together.
Yes.
So I want to invite everybody to our upcoming meeting. We have a veterans meeting. So this is for veterans. We're looking for kind of older veterans, more seasoned, to come down at Half. It's going to be at our office from 12 to 1:30. And if you want to join our group, you're welcome to. We already got some working committees planned. So we're working on stuff like letter writing, integrated medicine, mentorship. You got a lot going on. So,
what day is this? What day? Give us the date, Milan.
It's going to be Monday, April 9th. So this upcoming Monday from 12 to 1:30.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so very much, and tell everybody there at Healthy African American Families too
now, can I interject? And this is where
Sure.
located where though, because I have clients who are veterans.
Oh, okay.
Where
Can you give us the address to Healthy African American Families?
So it's 4305 Degman Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
Our zip code is 9008.
Mm-hmm.
Right in that community build center, so it's across the street from the McDonald's. There's a Jamaican restaurant, Aki Bamboo. We right behind that, and we're in Suite 105.
Okay.
All right.
And they do some wonderful work there.
They do.
So
They're really
want
doing
to,
a lot for the community. Thank you,
them
Milan, for
and
calling.
Everybody else.
No problem.
All right.
Talk to you later. Bye.
So, Holly, talk to us about some of the points that we talked about here with some of the time.
Tell us about one of the initiatives that the people have brought.
Okay, so there's so many of them, but
one that sticks out.
One is Prop 47, and many people have heard of it.
And that's the re-entry.
Right.
And it's also the reduction of, that's not the re-entry, that's 57, but it's the reduction of felonies to misdemeanors, which makes a huge difference for people who just are trying to reintegrate into society and back into the community.
So is it a law now?
Oh, it's been a law.
It's been a law.
Okay, so now that it's a law, so your position is that we want to let more people know that it exists. This is what we want to do right here at the Raymond Hall Show. We want to let you know that Proposition 47 exists, and there are so many people with felonies. Oh, my God. I know people. You know people. Everybody knows people. So, Holly.
Well, one of the things that's supposed to happen, I've been very instrumental with that whole AB 109 thing.
Yes.
Okay. With people returning back to the community. They were supposed to be returned with services. Now, one of the things that they were doing was returning, your service is housing, your service is bus token and this and that. And I've been arguing for years, one of the services is to give them information that better position them in their lives. And 47 does that. 47 is one of the best kept secrets that does that.
Really? Okay. So
because it's really hard to get housing. As we know, it's hard to get housing. Landlords don't want people with felonies.
Right.
It's hard to go to school. You cannot get loans to go to school. You can't get many licensed, many of the positions that require licensing, hairstylists. You can't become those things as long as you have that felony sitting there. Now, many felonies are theft related. They can be reduced. It depends, but they can be reduced, or drug related possession of drugs that can be reduced. And so we have been out there letting people know about it. There've been fairs, etc. But
we need to have a town hall meeting on this.
People
seriously
hopefully need to know. But I still see clients come in, and it's like, well, this could have been reduced. This one, because really, what happens is you come into misdemeanor court with something like you just talked about, suspended license. I see those every day.
Right.
And but you've got all these felonies behind you. And so what the types of offers that you'll get are going to be different than the person who doesn't have felonies. It's just really that's really the fact. Or if there's a petty theft, the type of offer that you get, like you went into Walgreens or something, the type of offer that you're going to get is going to be different because you have all these other felonies still there. So, we can wrap things up a lot quicker if those things have already been reduced. So I try to put people. I wanted to say about the veterans, this is what I'm looking at: alternative sentencing.
Okay. Yes.
And that's why, and I look at it anyway, in my position now. But that's my perspective is more about rehabilitation. and alternative sentencing. For people. If a veteran has a drug program, we have one veterans court is downtown.
Right.
And they will try to assist them. They'll assist them with PTSD issues as well.
Did you know they had a veterans court downtown?
Of course.
I did.
They've been having it for years.
Well, people need to know about this.
My thing is they only have the one.
They only have the one. They need more.
People have asked me, what would you like to do? I would like to see an expansion of some of these courts. They have a homeless court, but sometimes they have it. And they only have one. They've got drug court.
Right.
But, sometimes we need to have an expansion of some of these courts. I definitely think we need to have an expansion of the Veterans Court. There is the one. And that's, and that can be, there's some difficulty
that can make a
there.
difference. That can make a difference.
Well, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to have you back.
Yes, we're going to have to have Miss
but before she kicks us out of the studio, I need to get some important things. Now, what date are you on the ballot for election?
June 5th, which is the primary for everything else.
Okay.
It is a primary also for us, only then that I have two other people that are running against me.
I thought it was just one.
No, it's two.
Mr. Diamond and who else?
No, it's Mr. No, Mr. Cho and Mr. Oh wow, Kalela.
Yeah. I'm talking about Mr. Diamond.
Well, I hope they don't quit their day job. Don't quit your day job,
I haven't quit mine, but yeah. So there's three people, and then there's a runoff. If you don't, and there 50%. Will be somebody's not going to unless we get over 50%. Unless I get over 50%.
50%. Who can vote for you?
The whole county of Los Angeles.
The whole county. So everybody that's listening at the sound of our voice, you have an opportunity to make a difference on June the 5th to vote for Miss Holly Hancock.
Okay. So now let's do this. We're going to ask you to chime in. We're going to ask you to go to our various platforms, social media platforms, and we want you to post to us what would you like to discuss with Miss Hancock.
Yes.
And we're going to extend the invitation to Miss Hancock to come back at her. We know she's busy going around all of the place because the L.A. County is a big place, and we do want her to be judged. So we want her at your earliest convenience on a Thursday. We want to extend an invitation for you to come back.
Thank you very much.
We have flat out run out of time.
Yes,
this is Raymond Hall with the Raymond Hall Show, and I'm sitting here with our guests, Holly Hancock and Mrs. Erica Flynn Walker, the co-host. The studio is Morris Media Studio. The engineer is Felicia Morris, and she's been so kind to let us go over. So you got 15 seconds.
Well, just that I've always been fighting for people. And as a judge, I would look at fair sentencing and fair outcome for everyone who comes before my bench. And I look forward to serving the community and continuing to serve the community this way. I'm very qualified. I've had 34 felony trials. I have won the last 11 trials outright. People went home. And I've had 2 cases overturned by the appellate court, and people went home. So just wanted to say, I'm very much into what I do, and I hope to help as many people as I can. Thank you.
Ms. Walker.
Thank you so much. I cannot even follow that up, okay? Miss Holly Hancock said it all. We thank you so much for letting us come into your home this afternoon and bringing you this lovely young lady who is here to give service to each and every one of you. My name is Erica Flynn Walker. I'll see you next week.
This is the Raymond Hall Show. My name is
His name is not Erica Flynn Walker, you guys.
My name is Raymond Hall. This is the Raymond Hall Show. Ladies and gentlemen, our whole reason for being here is to talk about service.
Yes.
Each and every person's service is vitally important. Today we have someone that's not only qualified, but she has the heart and the zeal to do the job. Think about if it were someone in your family that unfortunately had to stand before a jurist. Who would you want them to stand before? We're not advocating because she's Holly Hancock. We're advocating because she is a qualified professional with the heart to provide the service that's needed in the community. This is the Raymond Hall Show with a different conversation. Have a good day. We'll see you next week.